like a train from fairly low revs, which I suppose is showing the benefits of the full valve head. Brakes are much lighter on here, as I said, than on the 1850. The boost ratio is different. I've got a figure in my mind, 2.4 to 2.7.
What model is this and how did you come to own it, David?
Triumph Dolomite 1850 HL, and I inherited it via my late wife's aunt. I'm the second owner.
But she'd had it from you, hadn't she?
She had it from you, yes. I was the first driver of this car as well. I went with her to pick it up.
And it was a bit delayed, you think, on being delivered, wasn't it?
Well, she placed an order with PJ Evans for delivery 1st of August. Despite the documentation, I'm very much aware that it's one of the few times I've seen her lose her rag. It was not delivered and there was no likelihood of it being delivered, and I see that another garage crept into the equation. But when we picked it up from PJ Evans in Birmingham.
Even though it was sold by one dealer, it came from another.
Well, in those days, remember that you were still working through the distributors, main dealers and dealer structure. BL hadn't really got its act together at that time, even 1978.
So did you say how long you'd had this one now?
She died 1995.
Right. Okay. And have you been using it regularly?
Yes, up until last year, where I'm waiting for it to be tax-free as from next year.
Right, excellent.
It could be eligible for no MOT, but I think that's committing suicide.
It's had a couple of minor accidents in its time, but otherwise it's original, is it?
It is, and the bonnet still doesn't fit.
But it's got a few Triumph Tune or SAH pieces on it, you were saying?
Exhaust manifold, and the exhaust system is a mixture of SAH, Triumph Tune, and latterly Triumph Dolomite Club.
Right. Okay, well that is interesting, because initially your wife's aunt wanted a Stag, didn't she?
Yes, we went to buy a Stag, and the Stag couldn't fit into her garage. Then we went back to PJ Evans, and there was this red with a white roof Sprint. But I thought that at how should I say, an ex-school teacher maiden aunt, the Sprint was perhaps not the vehicle to have. In retrospect, I think it wouldn't have made any difference. I don't think she was aware what was under the engine as long as it goes. What she did want was top of the range and full bells and whistles inside, which of course the HL has now, because this is specified with the sunshine roof. And it had the vinyl roof on an 1850, which wasn't available as standard. So it looks like a Sprint, but it isn't.
And how well does it compare to the Sprint?
I think it's easier to drive in traffic than the Sprint. The Sprint with its low profile tyres is very heavy on the steering, or relatively heavy. The clutch is heavier because it's a TR gearbox, but to all intents and purposes the same gearbox as the Stag almost. And the brakes on the 1850 compared with the Sprint actually require a lot of effort, surprisingly. But the clutch pedal is very, very light.
Has the Sprint got a bit of bigger servo in it or something?
Yes.
Right. Okay. And the Sprint belongs to son William, who's currently working in America.
Yes.
So you get to enjoy them both, don't you?
It was abandoned, I think, or left here.
But he's had it from a very young age, hasn't he?
He had it, yes, in 1987 when he was 17.
And you just can't part with a car like that from that age, can you?
Well, he did. He left it here. But it's still within the family, and of course it's now got some provenance, because it must be one of however many Sprints there are left. And I've heard figures as low as 150 or as high as 250. I don't know which is correct, but out of a total production of 23,000, it's not many.
And of course, I had noticed the car on the stand at the NEC in March. Were you scheduled to be on the stand that day, or was it a last minute thing?
No, I was one of the original stand attendees.
Right, okay. So when did they ask you to take the Sprint to the NEC? Was it a long time in the planning?
Yes, as a result of my appearance at the National Agricultural Centre on the Restoration Show in November last year, that's 2017. I was digging out the original service information we got with the car, ComSat, and that shows how long my son was in the Dolomite Sprint register, as it was, going right back to 1992. That was actually when he wasn't in this country.
When did he first buy the car?
1987.
1987, and it was a one-owner car.
10 years old. Guy in Peterborough, a place called Warrington. We picked it up on the 8th of November 1987 at 47,693 miles, and it's 107,000 now.
So son is still in America, is he? And you're looking after it in his absence.
Yes.
And what's it like to drive?
Very good. It's heavy on the steering. It's one of those, by modern standards, you would think that it would have power steering as standard. I've had the conversation this morning between this and the 1850, which is much, much lighter, due to the fact it's got standard aspect ratio tyres.
You're a bit of a fan of the Slant 4, aren't you? Like me, you think it's a better engine than it's given credit for.
Yeah, very much. I said to you earlier, 1973, the cylinder head won a Design Council award. Not many people seem to either remember it or wish to be reminded of it. The days when we as a country could be quite innovative. The other, apart from the first series production 4-valve head, the other innovative feature was the first series production car with factory fitted alloy wheels.
How come it looks as immaculate as this?
Because we spent a lot of effort yesterday cleaning it.
But presumably it's not in its original paint.
It's a bit like Trigger's broom. It's never been resprayed, but has had various touch-up work done. There was too much current going through. The contacts are not highly rated, so all the headlamp switching we put through relays. And I've forgotten how many light switches went on this car, but more than one.
Yeah.
But since the addition of the relays, no replacements have been needed. Off, side, main beam, dip, which is where all the problems occur,
Right.
and main beam, and flash. And it also doubles as the indicator as well.
And you modified the windscreen wipers as well.
Yes. There's a module underneath here to give us intermittent wipe as well as flick wipe, which is this control here.
Right.
And if you ask why isn't that over on the side by the windscreen wiper stalk, there wasn't any room. demonstrate its taxi-like turning circle, inherited from the Herald, I'm sure. Another first on the Dolomites, certainly the 1850 and the Sprint, was they had a laminated windscreen as standard. I think before legislation crept in. Well, I'm not 100% certain of that. I know that both of these have laminated screens. The first 1850 didn't. The other difference, I think, between the Sprint and the 1850s fuel consumption, you're hard pushed to get any of them better than 30 mpg out of a Sprint, and you're doing well. The 1850 will do around the 40, so there's quite a significant difference in fuel consumption.
At the NEC, there were you showed me the relays for the lights.
Yes.
Is it fair to say that you had the knowledge to do all that because of your career in the motor industry, most notably Massey Ferguson?
Massey Ferguson, indeed.
Yeah. You were an electrical engineer, were you not?
They blamed me for the electrics on Banner Lane. That's UK-produced Massey Ferguson tractors.
And you were there for a long time, weren't you?
37 years full-time. And from 2010 up to 2017 part-time, mainly working in China.
And so there you are, the experience to rework the Lucas Electrics and make them all smoke-free.
Yes, I think, yes, all right. I said earlier that we blame Lucas for a lot of things. However, in their R&D place at Shirley, when they had that, they had some very clever people, make no mistake. The problem is one of quality, and I suspect also trying to do things down to a price. Lucas were responsible for the switchgear on the Dolomite, which was then carried over to things like the Marina, and expecting to switch full headlight current through the contact size in those switches is a bit unfair, hence the relays. But I guess the penny pinchers, bean counters crept in and said this is what will happen.
Yeah.
Because I think it's generally well accepted that, certainly on Triumphs, that the switchgear has often a very short and not very happy life.
Yeah, because your first love, I believe, is Rover.
I grew up with Rover, yes.
And you seem to have a nice selection of Rovers here.
Yes.
So what Rovers have you got? Tell us what Rovers you've got.
One P4 110 that was my dad's from new, 1964. One P5B, which I bought from Massey Ferguson's then nut and bolt supplier, fasteners they called them. And two P6s, one with factory fitted aircon, that was again my dad's, and 1972 3500S P6B, which we bought in 1977 and is still in use.
And all that experience, your son goes out and buys a Triumph.
Of course, he was inspired by his favourite aunt.
Right.
And he wanted to go one better, i.e. he got the Sprint that rotten father had dissuaded aunt from buying.